We're about 2 weeks into the 60-day legislative session in Santa Fe, and there are some early signs of bipartisanship. Wednesday at the Roundhouse, a group of Democrats and Republicans from both chambers gathered inside the governor's office to address the state's public safety problems. Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham led the press conference, but she wasn't the only one putting ideas on the table.
As an elected leader, as a parent, as a longtime native New Mexican, I am hurt personally, intellectually, and emotionally about what is occurring around the world, in our country, and more specifically, what's happening in my backyard. No New Mexican, no mother or father, no grandparent should be worried about what the day looks like when their child goes to school. Nobody should be fearful about going to their workplace. We started our workplace a little bit late this morning because we went to yet another break-in to one of our state buildings. Every day, everywhere, somebody is experiencing a public safety or crime issue in every single corner of our state. Not only is it untenable, it's unacceptable, and we are all now taking that not only from a policy perspective. There isn't anybody in this room who doesn't take that personally.
I'm not just here to represent the city of Albuquerque. I was born and raised in Taos, New Mexico. And what I learned weeks ago when I visited my hometown, and I spoke to my relatives who are first responders, and I saw what struggles they're going through with the unhoused, with drugs, with violence. It sounded too familiar to what we're doing, what's going on in Albuquerque. And I commend the governor for acknowledging that this is a problem that is concerning for all of the state of New Mexico and every person who lives here. And as chief of police of the largest agency in the state of New Mexico, I'm here to first say that I don't need every single person to stay in jail. I've said it before. I have family members who are drug addicts. They need help. They need resources to get off of their addictions. I have family members who have mental health issues. They need mental health resources, and they need help in the areas of mental health. But I have a sister who works at Walmart, and I shouldn't worry that every day that there's the potential that somebody who's committing retail theft is going to point the gun at her trying to steal $50 worth of product. We have to get tough on crime.
This is a crisis that didn't start yesterday. It didn't start 4 years ago. This is many years in the making. And I agree with you, Governor. There is a deep bench of leaders in this room and even outside this room who are willing and ready to get to work to begin the process of undoing a lot of the bad things that led us to this crisis.
If you, I think, ask everyday New Mexicans, crime, if it's not at the top of the list, it's very, very near. It's in the forefront of every New Mexican's mind. So from my perspective, it's an all hands on deck approach, right? This is one area where I think we need to be serious when we say we put politics aside. Let's evaluate each idea, each proposal. If it has a good idea that fixes a problem, let's get it done. So I know that's going to be my caucus's approach. Again, and I appreciate the governor's remarks when she used the words discourse and debate. You don't want an echo chamber. It's not good for the people of New Mexico. And so we want legislation to be refined as it goes through. And I know we're going to be a part of that process as well.
Again, this is not a crisis that started overnight. Many of us remember the behavioral health system being decimated 10 years ago or so, and what that led in many ways to the situation we have here today. That's why the House and the Senate and this governor will continue to make investments in critical programs like behavioral health, housing. Those of you in Albuquerque know how critical housing is. Treatment programs. How many of you have had a loved one or a friend who is in need of detox or treatment, and it is nearly impossible sometimes to find the services? As well as supporting our law enforcement agencies, starting with our first responders and law enforcement, all the way through our DAs, our courts, our public defenders, and everyone involved in the judiciary.
Not every single person in this room agrees with every single effort by any number of these bills. Typically, when we all come together, That's what we're not trying to present. We're trying to show that we're all together, we have a plan. The Democratic leadership, I'll be a little partisan, sir. We got it, we got the votes, we're going. We are building a public safety investment strategy for the short term and the long term in the state. That's going to take every single one of us every single day in a number of ways, and we're going to work collectively to get as many of the best ideas up here as possible.
As far as, things that Republicans are working on that I think will help combat some of our career criminals that I know we can work with our Democrat colleagues, there's a few that come to mind. One, we've got to stop felons being able to acquire firearms. It's not a political issue. If you're a felon, there's no way you should be able to get a hold of a firearm. It's not even a Second Amendment issue.
This is a matter of getting tough on the right people, and people who provide firearms to criminals should face consequences. Everybody here is on the same page. People who should not have firearms should not be affected by the Second Amendment. We are here to be tough on crime, keep people in jail, and make Albuquerque and the rest of the state of New Mexico safe for everybody.
Our first responders and our police officers are not safe in this climate, straight up. And yet we're asking them to do more with less in many contexts around the state. And I say that while also saying at the same time, this legislature, by far than any other state in the country, has done more about investing in a public safety infrastructure. And when you look at the per capita numbers, there's just no comparison anywhere in the country. So that is also a bipartisan issue that sometimes gets lost. But if we're making all those investments and it still isn't better, we must do more.
It's tragic that mass shootings have become a regular part of everyday American life, but we finally have the power to do something about this in New Mexico. Saving lives should be something we can all agree on, including a 14-day waiting period to access firearms, to close a loophole on those abusing the background check system, especially domestic violent offenders. I hope my colleagues will join Representative Serrato and others and me in taking this bold and common sense step to save lives by banning the sale of assault weapons in New Mexico and extending this access period for those abusing the system that exists.
We have had mass shootings in this state, and we readily forget about them. We should not. And the notion that those risks aren't real here is flat wrong. And the fact that you can convert a firearm and that they're readily available and that weapons of war have no place in the day-to-day work of our society is an issue we have to debate vigorously and figure out a path forward. This may be the most robust group of leaders ever thinking about ways to tackle this issue by making it not about crime, but about a public safety environment that wins the day, that makes a difference in every aspect of our society and for every opportunity.